When I was in my 20s, I was on the road working, and a guy that worked with me, he uh, he came to my room one night and he said he was started to tell me about the wrestling match, the WWE or F or whatever it was wrestling match that he had just watched between Hulk Hogan and whoever. I don't know if it was Andre the Giant or who it was, but I let him tell me, and he told me this story, and there was another person in there with me, and we could see that he was talking about that wrestling match as if Hulk Hogan really put a ass whooping on whoever it was he was in the ring with. And I said, his name was Robert. I said, Robert, I said, you don't believe that that's real, do you? And he said, yeah. And he was shocked, and this guy was like in his 40s. He was shocked that I didn't believe that they really did punch each other and everything in the ring, that it was real. He said it was like just like the UFC, that it was no different. And me and the other person that was in the room was just baffled. And it went on for a long time. And I don't know if he ever did, if he ever was convinced that it wasn't real. Well, unfortunately, my friends, all this political theater that you've been witnessing, well, the same way I felt baffled and puzzled at that man Robert, I feel the same way with the believers nowadays, that they're buying such, you know, greasy bullshit. Now, if you're someone who's saying to me, well, prove it to me that all this stuff on the right and the left and Donald Trump and all this Biden stuff, prove to me that it's not, that it's just a big show and that we're all getting played like fiddles. Okay, bet. Here we go. I'm going to prove it to you in several ways right here. But this is something we've been reading for a long time, and you don't jump to conclusions. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to at first, but you got to let me read it out. This is from Albert Pike's book, Morals and Dogma, that he wrote in 1871, August 15th of 1871. This is the plan, okay? It has been the plan all along, and I'm going to prove it to you. We're gonna read it all, starting at the top up there. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and the Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Now pay attention, folks. I'm not playing with you. If you're asking me for proof, if you buy any of that BS that you're seeing on the TV, and you're not reading the Most High's word for your instructions, if you're buying any of it, if you think any of it's good for you, I'm going to prove to you that you're being played like a fiddle, that this is all one big stage. It's a show. Watch. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascist and the political Zionist. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed, supposedly happened, right, at the end of Second World War, and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. Now, what that last part right there, I need you to understand. He said it said that they need to be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. What that's saying is we have to set up the image of the beast. Set up where it ought not be. That's what happened. That's what you're reading about right there. And that's what happened. Because out of World War II and the destruction of Nazis, supposedly, came the sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. And this has been their plan. And you're going to see why. And you should already know, but for those of you who don't, you're going to understand why they're doing all this to everyone. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom. If they needed to set up the state of Israel in Palestine and at the same time balance Christendom, why would that be? How would those two play together? Well, they do, because the power is when you know who you are and where you are. Strong enough to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it in the final social cataclysm. When we would need it. Now, I'm serious, folks. Pay close attention to everything we're reading. And I do want to note, for those of you who might not know, I don't know if I'm dyslexic or what, but sometimes this is why we need to study this word together, Berean style, because sometimes I need someone to remind me that I'm saying the wrong word sometimes. Like in the last video, I kept saying that the lady poured the perfume on the Messiah's feet, but it was his head. But I said feet like 3 times. I don't know why. But I knew that we were talking about and reading it, her pouring it on his head. But for some reason I kept saying feet, and I apologize. But so, don't hold me to that level of perfection, because sometimes I do. And if you catch me and you want to see if I made a mistake, comment and I'll tell you, and we'll talk about it. That's what we're supposed to do. But look, they built the state of Israel in order to hold Christians in check so they could use them for the final cataclysm. Yes, now watch. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between, and now whether you believe the Illuminati exists or not, and they'll tell you they exist, but whether you believe that or not, you can clearly see that somebody did what the top of this, what they planned on doing. Albert Pike he was known to be a 33rd degree Freemason and other things. So whether the Illuminati is real or not, somebody did that. Made those 2 world wars happen, and you're going to see that that's what's happening right now with this Third World War. We're in the middle of this bottom paragraph down here. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Mutually destroy each other. Is that happening right now? Let's talk about this for a second. I heard the other day that Canadian prepper guy talk about this Russian guy whose name was like Zirov or something. I'm trying to find out about him, but supposedly it's on video. He had videos. He's dead now, but supposedly he put on videos. He predicted when Russia would invade Ukraine to the day. He predicted that it would be in February 24th, 2022. And he also said that after that, in like 2025, that World War III would break out in Iran. And that it would be horror, it would be something that the world's never seen. It's going to be so horrible that the world ain't never seen nothing like it, is what this man said. And watch what this says. This says the same thing. So does the Bible. All this what we're reading, the Bible verifies this. And I got other proof for you too. So just hold your horses. And don't jump to conclusions, because look, I got a lot to read to you, but I promise you that if you buy into any of that, you're just like that guy Robert that I told you about. You don't want to be suckered like that, do you? I don't want to be. If you know think that I'm being hoodwinked by something, come tell me. Well, that's what this is, and I got proof. Watch. They want them to mutually destroy each other, and is that plausible? What are they saying when as they're beating the war drums every day on the news? Iran, Iran, Iran. That's all they're talking about. I guarantee you on the on the 24th, when Netanyahu speaks at the Congress or whatever, he'll probably be saying that, because remember last time he had that little bomb thing where he showed you that it was this close to Iran getting a nuclear weapon, and that's what they want, and that's what's happening right now. They're on a mission creep. They're creeping ever so slowly. That's what they've been doing, putting the pieces together to get this to this final social cataclysm. And you're going to see why. And like I said, not just in here, but in the Word, and I got some other stuff that you're going to want to see. But I had to show you this first. We got to get to that later. So just pay attention. They want them to mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. How could they be fighting to spiritual exhaustion, the other nations, besides Israel and the Muslim world like Iran and those other countries in the Middle East? That's been the powder keg, right? This whole time. We've just been waiting for it to blow. Well, yeah. It's gonna. And so how they're going to fight to spiritual exhaustion is the world believes that is the Holy Land. And so that gives the Zionist that much power over the masses. You see? They're not, most Christians, they think, they probably feel in the back of their mind, or they'll tell you that that the Most High, or whatever they want to call him, will strike them down if they would even to consider that the state of Israel is the image of the beast, the abomination that lays waste. They won't even hear it. They refuse to hear it. And you see, that's how much power they have. Such power, they've had it, but it's coming down, and it's the plan. It is coming down, and it's the plan. So you don't have to worry about whether or not If I'm just making that up, that's the plan. They're going to fight to complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. They're doing this for a reason. They and you're going to see at the end of this why that is, but they have to have all these things happen, and so does the Most High. The Most High is the one that's doing all this. He's letting the enemy do this to fulfill his purposes. And you're going to see that too. I'm going to show you that in the Word. They want to show the world the effects of the most bloody turmoil and absolute atheism and the origin of savagery. So then everywhere, the citizens, the people, the normal people, the Joneses, the people who will just follow orders and do what's trending. They just want to fit in. They're not, it don't matter what they have to do really in order to, be like everyone else. They'll do it. They'll be obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. They're doing this so the good little sheeple will exterminate anybody who don't want to be good little sheeple and stand up to the image and the beast. They'll be obliged to defend themselves against the minority of revolutionaries and will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. And the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, right there, in case you don't see it, disillusioned with Christianity. That's the whole reason for all of this. For the 3 world wars, for the image of the beast being set up. That's what this is, the institution of the state in Palestine. And the word, look, the fact that that guy Robert didn't know that, and he was a fan. So when I'm hearing him say this, I'm thinking he's been watching this he's been believing that for a mighty long time. My goodness. And I've seen other people, I know, they do. And I'm looking at anyone who buys all this stuff about, if you can't see that is the image of the beast and the abomination that lays waste. If you can't see that, it's, at least Robert had an excuse where there wasn't a big Bible that most of y'all carry around and talk about every day that tells you all through it that there would be an imposter in the end that would take the world out. And how they're judged is the Word. The Word is there the whole time to tell them that. So the world has no excuse. They're being judged by the Word, but it's ridiculous that they can't figure this out. It's worse. When I seen Hulk Hogan talking, I didn't watch it because it's so grimy and greasy. It's the worst. It's the worst sales pitch, whatever you want to call it, that's ever existed. And these people who you would think would know better are blapping it up. And that's been the plan the whole time, to get it that way. They'll exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity. And how would that be? Whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction. Now, how would Christianity find itself to be looking for a ideal, nowhere to go? After Israel and Islam destroy each other, there's no more Israel. And we see that that's what's happening. Ever since October 7th, the day after the flying scroll landed there, like I've shown you guys, they've been taking themselves out and not to dinner. And all the world is like that guy Robert at the edge of the bed staring at the TV with just this bizarre interest, or whatever you want to call it. It was a spell. It was like he was under a spell. It was like, man, you can't see that they're not really slapping each other. And he didn't argue like most people do, like, and they say, well, it's real. What are you saying? They really don't do it? No, I'm not downplaying the athleticism and that they get in there and work and throw each other and do a bunch of crazy stuff that's crazy, yeah. And they probably do about kill each other. But it ain't real. They're not really fighting each other. It's a joke. And anyone who would believe that, it's... And that guy it wasn't like he was, you know... I was baffled. I couldn't believe that he believed that. And what the world is doing right now with the image of the beast and Donald Trump and all this stuff, what I thought, me and that other person thought, and other people after that, the more we talked about it, how we thought of Robert, it can't even compare how the people look right now that are buying this crap. And they've got no excuse, and it's that drunkenness, it says that it's that madness that the Most High talks about. They're drunk. And the enemy made them that way with the image of the beast. And when he bombs it, or however he does it and takes it out, the Christians, who are the target, because they're the only ones who had a chance to stand up against all of it. That's where the truth came out of. That's where that's where I came from. I grew up, was reared in evangelical Christian churches. All my family, most people, anybody I could think, that's what they are. And they're all buying this crap, hook, line, and sinker. And there ain't nothing I can do about it. And look, ever since the other day when that happened with Trump, it's like on steroids now. But you're going to see that you're going to have to step out of that, and you're going to have to call it out too. You're going to see that you can't just go along with this to fit in anymore. That this is what's happening, this third world war, to get what I'm about to read to you, to get that instituted, the final, their whole reason for the final social cataclysm, to get that done, they need to play all the world like a fiddle until they're disillusioned. Whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction. And we've looked at the word deistic. It means that they never had intent. It's someone that says they believe, but they don't. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to act. They're not putting any faith into action. They have no faith, really. It's talk. And all the Most High's told us all that. That's what this whole battle's been. So that's what's so crazy, too, It's beyond what that guy Robert, how he looked. It's beyond that. It's like the whole Bible, the Most High's beef throughout the whole word is with people who are claiming to love Him. And the image of the beast is going to be aimed. It's a weapon it's targeting the believers, the people who might see the truth about the Most High and live and survive. It's all to get anyone who might. It's a trap. That's what the Most High tells you. It's a trap to get. They're not worried about the people who are out here going to a Megadeth concert. They're not worried about that. The target is all these believers. They want to take out the opposition. They want to snuff it out like it always has been, just like when Messiah was born. They're trying to prevent any opposition. Whose deistic spirits will from that moment but be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive, here's the goal, will receive the true light, their goal, the enemy's goal, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. They need the whole world to see all this go down. So they'll receive, any naysayers, any opposition will receive the true, or any opposition that they didn't destroy, that they don't kill. They want people, the enemy needs people to bow to him, to worship him. That's the goal. The Most High told us it's all about him creating a nest in the heavens, his own throne. That's what it's all about. The pyramid, all that stuff. The mercy seat. So in order to do that, he has to raise a generation of people on the image of the beast and break their heart at the end so they won't ever return to the Most High. His plan is probably to burn the Bible or whatever. But right now he couldn't never just come out. He couldn't have just come out in the open before. He has to whirl it up, right? So the goal is to do that. But what the enemy, and the Most High tells us this, what the enemy don't understand is this is all just one big trap for him too. That it ain't going to make it that far. This is going down the way the Most High plans for it to go down. The enemy, he tells us over and over, the Most High tells us that the enemy don't even realize that he's doing this. That his goal is just to destroy everybody and leave a few to worship him and whoever. But at the same time, he's creating this big trap for himself as well. And it's a way that this is how it is. The Most High, he lays out life and death. You choose. That's the beauty of it. We're not forced to do anything. We have to choose to want to live with him. But the option of death is there, and most people choose death. They prefer it over life in these days. That's what that means. I think that's in Revelations. It says, in those days, people will prefer death over life. And they'll seek death, but death will evade them or something like that. I can't remember how it goes, but they're choosing death, and they think it's peace, but it's not. There's no peace. They're going to receive that, the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So they want atheism exterminated because whoever's left, they want them to bow and worship Lucifer. So there can't be anybody that ain't willing to worship a god. So, and he wants he wants every knee to bow. His goal is to be higher than the Most High. So he wants all knees to bow and kill any knee that don't. But he needs knees for his little goal. He needs some people to bow their knees. And they're already doing it right now. But that ain't good enough for him. He wants a public display. He wants to shut down all opposition, any voice of opposition. And you can see how he's doing that is it's their motto. What do they say? Problem, reaction, solution, or whatever. Order out of chaos. They made the image of the beast. They instituted it through the Balfour Declaration and the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the 2 world wars. That's what this has all been about. I've proven it to you, shown you guys all through it, all through my videos. More information than anyone should ever need. They built that in order to make a generation of suckers who are willing to bow down to Lucifer. Because that's why, if you've wondered, I've been saying this, but I got to keep saying it. If you've wondered, scratched your head like, why does Israel keep doing this? And doing what? What am I talking about? Here, let me show you.
Where to run? Where's safe? Gunshots ring out. Children scream in terror. There's chaos, panic. Help us, God, help us, O Arabs, he screams.
This is my grandson. I don't know where his mother is. He's just 20 days old. What can I do with him now? Where can I go with him? Where can I find his mother and father? Please tell me where to search. We're tired. We can't cope anymore.
The stream of people fleeing looks endless. Close to 500,000 Gazans ordered to leave their already destroyed homes by the Israeli army as they launch a fresh assault on Khan Yunis, accusing Hamas of firing rockets from the area. A brother pulls along his sister, too weak to walk.
That's who we're talking about. And we can't question whether or not they're the image of the beast. The people that are doing this to these poor people. That's who we can't talk about. That's who we're unwilling to get up off of our face. You remember this, don't you? I ain't lying to you when I tell you that that's the plan. Let me show you. It's been they've made all kinds of movies, everything that tells you the plan. What I just read from Albert Pike, that's the plan, and right here, this is the plan. This was written in the 80s. It was from I think Rolling Stone magazine. It was like a little cartoon titled "The Wall." Watch this. I mean, if you don't believe me, that if you buy any of that bullshit that you're being played like a fiddle, let me show you some more proof. Okay? This was written in the 80s. This is about Donald Trump. It's titled "The Wall," And on the front, it says, opiates are the drugs of the masses. Well, that came true. So there's one piece of evidence to validate whether or not the plan has been, moving right along. Bring us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Now pay attention. The wall. To hell with that. Keep the peasants at arm's length. Out of sight, out of mind. After all, this is New York. Now look, this is New York, right? And they built a wall. And I know you're saying, well, they ain't built a wall and they're not going to build a wall. No, the wall is, it's figurative. Pay attention. They did build the wall. We just read about it in Albert Pike's book. We're going to read about it in the Word. And I'm going to show you right here that they loved one of their little magazines. And there's tons of them where they write it down. They love it. Watch. You're going to see what the wall is. Heavy Metal magazine, I think. But let me go back before the wall was built. Let me zoom out a little bit. Before the wall was built. Now, this article I got with it is in black and white. But if you remember the one before I've showed you, there's a little blue in some areas. And this little guy right here. Where'd my pen go? That guy with the spiky hat, this guy, his hat is always red. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let's go back before the wall was built. In a certain way, the wall was always there. It was just invisible. Spare change, this guy. There's like a rich guy, the haves and the have-nots. Still, decent people had to put up with all kinds of harassment and discomfort. Please help me. The annoyances were downright disgusting. Why don't they get a job? Back scum. Soon, that invisible barrier just wasn't enough. And look, the H up there, that's for Helmsley. And look at this cop saying, I was only doing my job. And where have we heard that? We've seen these cops out here killing people saying that. Yeah, but like I said, this is figurative. This is the plan, and it's in code. And I'm going to break it down here for you. Enough. There's more, I'm sure, but I'm going to show you enough that you're going to say, if you're paying attention. I mean, I can't pay attention for you. You got to pay that yourself. But if you do, you're going to say, oh, yeah. Well, they wrote the plan down in there, too. Enter Harry Helmsley and Donald Trump. Harry Helmsley, the H up there, right? Harry Helmsley. Why would the guy's name be Harry Helmsley? I'm sure it's fictitious. H. H is the 8th letter in the alphabet. 88. I've shown you all the 88 stuff related to Trump that anyone should need. This is a game to them, but at the same time, this is evidence, and this is how they communicate, and all that stuff. 88, it's the sign of infinity, or infinity. I couldn't get it out of my mouth. Infinity. And it's the, what was it called? The Aurora, not the Aurora Borealis, but I can't remember. But it was all in the Loki stuff. And it's the snake eating its own tail. And we'll get into that later. But that's what Harry Helmsley means, and I'm going to show you right here in a minute. It means 88. So enter 88, and Donald Trump. Two forward-looking gentlemen who realized it was high time to get together. And look what they're looking at. It says the solution. It's the plan. See the paper that they're looking at? And notice how Harry Helmsley's face is black and white. I assure you that's for a reason. I mean, they're both black and white, but notice how his is like that. That's who 88 is. That's who that represents. It represents the synagogue of Satan. Okay? 88. And sign that dotted line. And look, they did. And there's all kinds of evidence that they did that. And here lately, he's been over there, and they signed all those like Abraham Accords, all this stuff. He did that big. He brokered that big deal like back in the 80s, right around the time this magazine was made. And so began construction of the Great Wall when Trump teamed up with the 88. They moved with God's speed, making this wall, and met with little dissidence. Stop the wall, one person. Before you could say Mar-a-Lago, the task was done. Pay attention to this guy. For anyone who's been around, I don't know if anyone will hear this or not, but I made some videos when we were reading through Ezekiel, and one of them had a thumbnail, and it was titled something to do with the white, those who whitewash your wall. And the thumbnail is a guy up doing about the same thing that guy's doing. He's painting like a wall. And this guy looks like he's brooming it or whatever. But that's what that means. And Ezekiel talks about it the best, about that wall that the world put up. They erected it themselves. And on that wall, this is in Ezekiel. If you go to Ezekiel, you'll read about it. It tells you all about what's going on. This about that plan, about the plan to get a world full of Christians who have believed in the image of the beast, but they're going to have the rug pulled out from underneath of them, and they won't know where to go, and they're going to offer this solution to them. But they need a bunch of idiots, just to be frank about it. They need a bunch of morons to do it, to achieve their goal. And on that wall is the sons of the foreigner, the Babylon. And you're going to see. I'm going to show you. So they made the wall. A magnificent wall separating the east from the west, the good from the bad, a haven for the beautiful people. Watch how they did this. How they've mocked the Most High in the world. On the historic day, thousands crowded in anticipation as Harry's wife, Leona, cut the cord. Now, this is going to let you know a little bit of their timeline. I thought to myself, Leona. And I remembered all the Leona stuff we looked at. Last fall, around the 23rd and the 24th of September, 2023, they were talking about this, I don't know if it was a supernova or an eclipse of Betelgeuse, I think. And it was Betelgeuse. They kept talking about Betelgeuse. And right around that time, they come out with the trailer for the new Beetlejuice movie, and it's all about this. It's got the plan all in it. It is the plan. And it went through this thing, Beetlejuice or whatever, went through the constellation of Leon, I think it is, or something to do with like Leon or the lion or whatever. And we looked at that, and there's all kinds of stuff about Leona, and there's these characters they made about Leona, and it's all symbolic about a timeline, about a sign, something that would happen that would be a sign letting these people know that it was time to do something. That's why his wife's name is Leona. On the historic day, thousands crowded in anticipation as Harry's wife, Leona, cut the cord. And I told you, we've seen it. We've seen that ever since that day, all kinds of crap has been happening. And we seen it coming. We seen, and not just me, that other guy, Tony, we talked about it, the Nexus event. And it's all through the plan. You'll see it. Like if you go read the plot to Loki. I didn't watch that show, but I read the plot, out of the plot to you guys a few times around that time. And it talks about the Nexus event where realities would cross. Now, no doubt they're going to have the most bloody turmoil. They already are. Look, did you just see that? And that's just one video, man. They're every day. Just when you think those guys are not going to kill anybody anymore, the next day you wake up and they bombed overnight and killed, and they're bombing tents. Little kids, look at those little children. How can anybody not say something about this and stand up to it? I'll tell you how. It's a drunkenness, a madness that has been created supernaturally. Okay? I mean, it's been done through lies and deception, but it could have only been done by someone more advanced than just the average Joe. You know what I'm saying? They knew that this day would come. Look, Leona was graced with the job of selecting the haves from the have-nots. Darling, your new nose is too perfect. This must be Leona here. Seems like the party lasted for years. And here's this little guy in his hat in the original copy. This guy right here, his hat is red. Let me fix this. That guy. And that's for a reason. You're going to see. For a good while, everything ran smoothly. Helmsley there, Trump there. One side by side. I don't know what this is, a restaurant that says Ches Trump. I don't know what the Ches means, but I'm sure it's something. TBS, Trump, Helmsley, Trump. And now let me explain a little bit of this to you. Ever since 2015, when Trump made that announcement that he was going to run, right? And now I need you to understand, if you've been thinking that I'm someone that is like on the left side or whatever, let me tell you a little history. And in the year 2015 and 2014, I was like one of the first MAGA people I knew. I had dealt with so many arguments over Trump and ruined and allowed to be ruined relationships over Trump and Hillary. I was all about Trump. So I've always been someone who would tell you, like all back in my 20s, I would have told you I'm a Republican, a conservative. I've always been that kind of guy. I grew up shooting guns and driving pickup trucks. I'm a good old boy. That's who this is coming from. So don't think that I'm coming with some kind of political agenda, because I'm not. I'm here for one thing and one thing only, and that's give all esteem to Abba Yahuwah, the mighty Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness, and expose Babylon and the image of the beast. have my way with them. And that's what I'm doing. And if you want to live, you best get you some. But in the time, it became clear that half an island would not be big enough to support 2 Titans. Oh, well, the reason I tell you that I used to be a Trumper, okay? I loved like InfoWars and Alex Jones and everything. And one of the reasons I loved Trump so much back then was he said that if he got in office, he was going to unclassify the 9/11 papers and the JFK papers and all this stuff. And all these things that now I see that it's just more BS that these politicians spew out their mouth. It don't matter what the issue is, they'll do a 180, change their opinion on something on a dime if it pays right, if AIPAC's putting money in their pocket. It don't matter if they've campaigned against something their whole life, they can change and go completely in the other direction tomorrow. And how could that happen? This is all happening because of the money, the pride, the Benjamins. But look, through that time, all this Fox News, all these things, ever since like 9/11, we've been bombarded with all this deception and these lies from the news channels and everything. And it's all been about Trump. That's happened. Back then, when this article was made, there wasn't nothing like that. No one was talking about Trump like this. But in time, it became clear that half an island would not be big enough to support 2 Titans. Here's Harry Helmsley, right? That little son of a bitch has pushed me too far. This is Harry Helmsley. I want Trump eliminated. Eliminated. Now remember, in the beginning it said that they 2 forward-thinking gentlemen finally came together and they were looking at that thing that said the plan or whatever, right? Trump to be eliminated. Trump's associates were served their eviction notices. Did that happen? How many of his associates have been put in prison and taken to court? Lots of them. And I assure you, don't go back to thinking that all this wasn't the part of the plan, that's just stuff that happened. That wasn't supposed to happen. No, it's all part of the plan. You see, they knew this. They're telling you right here. They said, this is them telling you in this piece that like people like Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, we're going to go to jail. The guy that just went the other day, what was his name? Can't think of his name. And other people. Failure to respond to this notice will result in penalties. So all that happened, and they planned on it to happen. They didn't put it in this cartoon because they thought that it might happen. No, that is the plan. And why would they need to do that? They would need to do that to rile the Christians up more for that side, to buy into the BS more, so they're good and ready when the time comes, when they complete the final social cataclysm. They're aiming to have the biggest of morons and idiots standing there ready to do whatever they tell them to do. That's why they're doing this. That's why all these things happen, to inflame, to now, like I said, it's like a wall now. He is a wall. Trump is. Most believers, they ain't having it. They're not going to listen to anything negative about him. And what they don't understand is, I mean, just think about what they're doing. And these are the people I have in mind. Are the majority are Christian people who go to church and stuff, who pray and do all these things, they refuse to even look into the possibility of this being a trap, because they think that I'm against their views, opinions, and I'm not. I would, if I didn't see the truth in all this stuff, like I said, I'd be voting right there with everybody. I don't want abortion to be happening. I don't want all this stuff to be running rampant. But the people that you're voting for, the people that you think might save the day when it comes to all that, they don't care about that. It's a joke. They tell you that they gave you the cancellation of Roe v. Wade as something just to keep you in check. And immediate steps will be taken to remove you and your possessions from the premises. There's the black and white checker floor too. Notice that. Night of the Long Skates, as it became known, culminated in the burning of Trump's Wallman Rink. And that's, look, I don't know what that's talking about, but it's all this stuff, the Russian collusion, all these hoaxes and stuff they've been talking about, all the stuff that they've been saying that's been happening to Trump. And I've been trying to tell you, it's all a show. That's why there's 34 felonies, all this stuff. It's all symbolic, and it's the joke's on you. But the reason they do all that is to build sympathy in the eyes of the masses for him. They need someone, Christian them, because of their deistic spirits, they need someone to stay focused on, that everyone in their clique that they want to impress is hanging from his necktie. So that's the goal, and they've accomplished it amazingly, haven't they? To create this golden calf, if you will. Trump himself narrowly escaped with his life and a bit of pocket change from all the court cases, all that stuff that would happen to him, and was forced to go underground on the west side. But a man like Trump was not to be kept down. Look what it says. Helmsley will pay the guardian demons. This is this group of people that Trump bands together, and he calls them the guardian demons. But look, it says Helmsley will pay, and then right there, this is how they communicate and operate. 28. If I didn't know all the stuff and have seen all the stuff I have about the 88 with Trump, I would be like most. I would say, yeah, that could be just a coincidence. That doesn't mean 88, 2 8s. But all the stuff I've seen about Trump, it makes me know. I would be an idiot to think that it doesn't mean 2 8s, 88. I'd be a damn fool to not know for sure that that's what that's talking about. Helmsley, Harry Helmsley, his wife Leona. He quickly organized and formed alliances. Mike Tyson in the ring. Have a hat. Look at it. Look. Have a hat. And I'm telling you, this was made back in the 80s. I'm not lying to you. He quickly organized and formed alliances, and he's given Mike Tyson a hat. When you think about it, Helmsley's hit us both below the belt. But with teamwork, Mike, we can be number one again. Great again. Yes. Given that hat. I've had people say this article ain't from the 80s. Yes, it is. I've seen people talking about this. I seen people make videos about this cartoon back before Trump was ever president. Way before. way before there were hats being handed out. Okay? And remember that guy that's always around the fire? His hat is red. And he's the only person that has any red on in any of the show. Anything that's red in this cartoon is the hat. Is the hat that the kid has. Not these hats that he's dishing out. Not the hats that Trump's dishing out. They're not red in this cartoon, but the hat on that little guy right here, this guy. Here he is, speaking of him. That guy, his hat is the only thing that's red in the whole cartoon. His guardian demons rose up from the ranks of the angry and dissatisfied. Why don't you have a job? One reason, Helmsley. To serve and protect. Why do we live like this? Helmsley. Have a free hat. The guardian demons. You know who the guardian demons is? Christianity. Anybody that's believing this bullshit. An unstoppable juggernaut. And that's these guys handing out these guardian demons for real. And Helmsley, because it's all one and the same. An unstoppable juggernaut, Helmsley. Whose fault? Helmsley. Look at them all. And there he is with his hat on. That concludes tonight's Bites here on NTV, where the only good news is good news. Now stay tuned. Remember the news up there with Trump? The only good news is good news. Whatever keeps you guys' ears tickled and in one spot and thinking about the BS, buying the BS. Never telling anybody the truth. The guardians. The guardian demons. Like I said, that the reason they're after the Christians is because that's where anyone with any hope might come from. They're going to have to read the Word. So it's going to have to be someone who has access to a Bible, the Scripture. And they're going to have to roll their sleeves up and go hard in this Word right now if they're going to want to find salvation, I assure you. Because obviously no one's read it enough to understand that in the end, there would be an imposter. And that the battle has always been with people who are claiming to be something that they're not, in order to deceive the masses about the Most High. The enemy, they handle swords and shields and helmets. Just like in Ezekiel, the war of Gog and Magog. That is what we're witnessing. That's these guardian demons. That's these Christians whose deistic spirits are about to be left disillusioned and without compass when that place is taken out and not to lunch. So they just keep giving you the news, the good news, to keep you tuned in. Now stay tuned for the porno classic, Hannah Does Her Sisters. Meanwhile, Hemsley had grown complacent with his success. Now, I'm not going to show you what they're doing, this other stuff about the porn, but the reason I wanted to even say that just now and mention it, I know that feathers got ruffled just now when I even said that little bit, read that little bit there, but the reason I had to say that is because the world, look what's going on right now. Look at all the Christians that you hear that tell you they have a problem with porn and all the porn that's being done and all the stuff that's done around the world, and the people ain't protesting that, but they'll protest someone who's revealing the image of the beast, Babylon, who's having his way with Babylon. They don't like that, but they'll let porn come across their TVs and phones and all this other crap. But yet Trump is their hero. Now here's Helmsley saying, oh my God, looking down at the wall. Must be people wanting to break in or something. Yep. And the walls, the guardian demons breaking down the wall, came tumbling down. Came tumbling down. So the wall protecting Helmsley, Harry Helmsley, 88, whose wife was Leona. The looting and pillaging lasted through dawn, but miraculously none of Trump's properties were touched. No. They can't discourage the morons. The morons have to have a reason to hoot and holler and something to be proud of, something that they can cheer about, bragging rights. That can't happen before they can't lose their motivation to be proud and prideful before the end. That can't come before the end, because they need those morons to be standing there. So they have to coddle them along. So the walls of protecting Helmsley come tumbling down. Harry and Leona Helmsley were given a ceremonious bon voyage party. Notice he's white, she's black. My hair is just ruined. You know what that is? That right there is the image of the beast. And that, his wife right there, is the hoe of Babylon. As above, so below. That's why they're black and white. And what that symbolizes, they're not saying in this cartoon that they plan to do away with Harry Helmsley and his wife, Leona. No. The destruction of the order of things right now is how they must destroy, they must break the hearts of all these people who are buying all this BS. And how could they do that? By destroying. Just imagine all these people who think that they can't be touched. When that gets destroyed, and the only reason I'm saying it's going to, the writings on the wall and the word tells us that it's going to happen. The Most High says he's going to sweep it clean with the broom of destruction. It's coming down. And you can see that they're doing it themselves. It's the plan, it's the goal. So they can have a bunch of people ready to say, yes, sir. That's the goal. So when they destroy the way things are, just like we were reading in Albert Pike's book, this is where we're going to be at right here on this magazine's timeline. And Donald Trump crossed over the line a hero. And there's that guy again, looking. I had a scheme that has brought we the people to this glorious moment. I hold in my hand plans for a monument so we will never forget our great struggle. A symbol of the spirit with which it will be built. A monument. Folks, that monument he's talking about is that true light, they say, of Lucifer, that we just was reading about. That's their goal. That's what this is talking about. It's symbolic. This is a code. This is them communicating with each other. And this is what's happening right now. And notice it says a symbol of the spirit with which it will be built. The monument will be built. They don't want the deistic spirits for Lucifer. They want you bowed down on your face. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's the spirit. I was the clip of Hulk Hogan that I did watch. I watched a commentator say something about what he had said, and they said that they were talking about Tucker Carlson and everything, and they said we could feel the spirit, the American spirit. We could tell that the American spirit was rising up again in that building at the RNC convention in Milwaukee, and they were in high spirits, no pun intended, if you will. Now, when that lady, whoever it was, said that she could tell that in them people in the room that the American spirit was alive and well in that room. When she said that, was she meaning that some like entity named the American spirit had was doing something to those people? We all know that that's not the case, huh? We all know she was talking about the people's will to fight for their country, to be patriotic, to be American. That's what she was talking about. We all know for a fact, and don't anyone act like that's not the truth. No one thinks that that lady was talking about an entity named the American spirit, right? So that's how you need to understand. That's what it takes. In order to understand that, which ain't hard, you need to use that same understanding with the Most High Spirit, the set-apart Spirit of truth. He does things a certain way. He don't change, and he gave us all this evidence, the Word, everything, that shows us how he operates and moves, and that's how his children must operate, in that spirit. Well, you can't serve two masters. You can't be like that guy Robert. You can't allow yourself to be suckered like that, but yet claim to know the truth about it. I mean, it's just, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out that it wasn't real, that all this stuff ain't real. And so it came to pass that the New People's Monument was created. What monument? Must be a wall, huh? Yeah. A shining achievement spanning north to south. So it would be dividing the east from the west. Commemorating all the little people who had helped Trump realize his dream, 88, to worship Lucifer. That's the truth. I mean, he says it everywhere. His whole building, it's a shrine. He's a 34th degree Freemason of the ancient rite of Memphis, Mitzrayim, Egypt. That's who he is. He's a pharaoh. His dream is to have everyone bow down and worship Lucifer. And this guy, the only guy with the red hat on, he's down here painting on that wall, "Dump Trump." And this bug is up on the top, and it says, hey, looking down at the guy painting, "Hey, you kid, don't rock the boat," this cockroach is telling him. "Bah, the youth of today, no respect for history. Oh well, all's wall that ends wall." That guy has a red hat on because that symbolizes the Passover and that which is continual. You coming to the house, to the Most High's house. That's the reason they had to make the fake state of Israel in the house, or in the land of Palestine. Right here in chapter 13, Mark 13. We never did go finish the rest of it. But in Mark 13, we read back up here, he told us about, he said they were asking him, okay, his taught ones. Let me get this, let me get right here. They said, say to us, when shall these events be? He told them there'd be no stone standing. And he said, take heed that no one lead you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am he, and they shall lead many astray. That's talking about, that's talking about what we've been talking about here in this video. Christians. Christians will come and lead many astray. They're not coming with tickets to a Megadeth concert. They're not worried about all that. The way they get the Christians is with Christianity and all that they're about. And this is it right here. Look, right here he says, and you take heed, see, I have forewarned you of it all. And who is he? He's the word he has. He's forewarned us from front to back and side to side, baby. The word has told us there'd be an imposter in the end, and it would be the snare, the trap. And the word would judge everyone, because the word would tell us how to get out of that trap and where our true home is. Right here, verse 34, or 24. But in those days, after that distress, after the Messiah, after they were punished, Jerusalem was punished, everything was tore down, Babylon came, took them off, and there was no Israel, no return until supposedly in 1948, right? And that's what we're about to read about in verse 24. But in those days, after that distress, after the destruction of Jerusalem in the land of Yehuda, and everyone being taken away captive and whatever, right after that, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light. This is a riddle, I assure you. He's not talking about literally the sun being darkened and the moon. I know we like to think about the eclipses and stuff, and the Most High does tell us about those things, but that's not what this is talking about. This particular verse that the Messiah is speaking, he's talking about the land being hid, the truth of our set-apart place being trampled to the ground, darkened, and the moon shall not give its light. Those are, like I'm telling you, I promise you. And the word will confirm this to you thousands of times, that's what that means. Those are like them thunderbolt words. They're meant to encrypt the message. That's how the word judges you. The sun shall be darkened. The sun shines light onto the ground to let you know, and the moon shall not give its light. That's what he's talking about. And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers in the heavens shall be shaken. The stars are the prophets, the messengers who have the message of everything I'm talking about. That's where I heard it from. They shall fall, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's what happened when they made Christianity. Now they have a world full of people who are going to be standing there like morons and buying whatever is left. And they're going to be doing that because the enemy took the word. He couldn't get rid of it, but he took the power of it and he's twisted it. He's used it against the people. That's what that's talking about. The powers of the heaven shall be shaken. The powers, we've proven this. The power is when we are following the instructions of the mighty Most High. And we take care of his land. We come in and come out. We live with him and with him in our midst. That's where the power is. That's where the blessing is. And anything other than that is where the curse and death is. We know this. So the powers in the heavens, in the truth, was shaken when the shepherd was struck. The truth. We were lied to. And that's where we are today. The world is operating on lies. None of it's true. And they shall see the Son of Adam coming in the clouds with much power and esteem. This is going to confirm a lot of things that we've been had revealed to us. After the powers and all the sun's dark and the powers shaken and everything, they lied to us about where's where. They give us this image of the beast, and they gave us the man of lawlessness, the lies about the Messiah that tells you that you can do what you want now. You don't have to, that following, even talking about following the instructions of the Most High is prohibited. They want to burn you down for doing it. So that's what's happened. That's what Christianity has become. But now in this end, we who are truly watching will see the Son of Adam. Why does he use the words Son of Adam? Adam gave it all, whatever. He didn't count the cost. That's why. We'll see the Son of Adam. We'll see the Word, the Messiah, the truth of him and our home, coming in the clouds, from the Word, from the heavens, with much power and esteem. Power. That's where the power is. When we realize all this about the image, about the truth, about the image of the beast, about the abomination that lays waste, and about our true home, and we understand what it is we must do. And then he shall send his messengers and assemble his chosen ones from the four winds, from the farthest part of the heaven from the farthest part of the earth to the farthest part of heaven. There's a reason it says to. And this is what we need to understand. This is the most important part of this whole message right here, my friends. Verse 28. And learn this parable from the fig tree. We know that the fig tree represents the house, Yerushalayim, in the land of Yehuda, the Most High dwelling there, and us in his midst, dwelling there too, coming in and coming out. That's the fig tree. So learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branches has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. I work outside, so I work year round, but I'm always excited for springtime because I know, good work's going to come, and it's going to get busier, and it won't be so slow and cold and just icky outside. I see the buds on the trees forming, and I get excited, like most people I'm sure do. And I know, as soon as I see them buds every year, I say, oh, it's a wrap. You see those buds? Oh, it's a wrap. Summertime's coming, baby. Well, what you've been witnessing here on this channel and in other places about our true home and about the fact that we are supposed to want to come here and be a part of this family, all that has been coming out. It's put forth its leaves. That lets you know that summer is near. It's time. So you also, when you see these taking place, know that it is near at the door. Truly I say to you, this generation that we're in shall by no means pass away till all this takes place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away. He said we'll inherit the earth, right? They can change where it is, that you think you got to go to. They can try and twist the truth and do away with it. But like I was saying earlier, they can't destroy the word. It's always here. The truth has always, the Most High has always wanted us to come in and come out. That's what he desires, to engage in a lovingly committed relationship with him. Those words will never pass away. We're always supposed to come in and come out, no matter what happens. He's telling us right there that they're gonna change. They're gonna try to do away with the heaven and the earth. That's what it's talking about. It talks about it all through prophecy, that's what they would do. And in Revelations, they caused fire to come down onto the earth. They made the earth worship the image of the beast. But concerning that day and the hour, no one knows, not even the messengers in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. But we do know, because the Most High's told us that it's on a appointed day and at appointed time, and he's give us clues to let us know that it's on Passover. Several. Lots of clues. As a man, take heed, watch and pray, for you do not know when the time is. As a man going abroad, having left his house and given authority to his servants, and to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch. He's gonna come home eventually, and that time's coming, and they know that. That's what that Leona, all that is about. And I'll have to go back, if you go back through my videos back towards like last fall, you'll see, like the image of the beast videos, you'll see where I show you about Leona. We figured it out who that was, who it's talking about. And that was that star going through that certain whatever constellation. And that's what all that Beetlejuice stuff was about. That's what the movie Beetlejuice is about. It's about the time that would come where they start with the final social cataclysm. They start to let Israel and Iran and the Islamic world destroy each other, while all these people are hoodwinked by it. All this mass destruction is going on. The whole plan is to get it to a point where anyone left standing is worshiping Lucifer. But in reality, what's going to happen is the only people left standing are going to be those who bowed down to Abba Yahuwah, the Most High. And he's not wanting you to come kiss the ring. He wants you to just come home and see him, love him, care about him, and all this. He's coming home. That's the wedding feast. So watch, therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, or at midnight, or at the crowing of the cock, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he should find you sleeping, just like he did with Peter and them. They couldn't watch for an hour. And what I say to you, I say to all, anyone, watch.